Podcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon. Welcome to this edition of the SCR webinar series, which is sponsored by the Realtors Education Foundation. With us today, we have Clayton Ingram, Manager of Research and Communications at SC Housing. Clayton has been with the South Carolina Housing since 2008 and is responsible for developing and promoting awareness of the agency and its programs. He is the primary spokesperson for the agency and travels and speaks extensively to increase the use of the agency programs among the public and the related businesses that service the housing industry in South Carolina. Prior to joining SC Housing, Clayton was with the State Department of Insurance. Clayton also served with South Carolina State Budget and Control Board in the state's Office of Insurance Services, which administers the state's self-insured health plan. Thanks for being with us here today, Clayton. Now I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you very much, and thanks to everyone in the realtor community for joining us. It's been a while since we've all been together, but I just want to open by saying welcome to spring. I hope the sales season is kicking off nicely, and thank you for all that you do, because we are truly a team. Without you selling houses, there really wouldn't be any reason for us to exist to finance home purchases. And hope to maintain that relationship for a long time and build it and keep bringing you some tools that'll bring you more and more home sales as we go along. Today we've got a couple of things to talk about. Individually, they all work well, but in the subject today, Palmetto Heroes, they are all working together. So we'll talk today about the Palmetto Heroes program. I'll give you a little bit of background on that, and also talk about home ownership in general, and one of the key components of Palmetto Heroes this year, which is the MCC, the South Carolina Mortgage Tax Credit, Mortgage Credit Certificate that's available from SC Housing now, that if you don't know about it, it's another great tool. So when we come to the MCC, we'll get a little bit more into depth about that. And as always, any questions that come up, please ask them, and we will try to address those as quickly as possible. But pleased to introduce the Heroes program for 2014. Includes community service personnel in the fields of law enforcement, firefighting, emergency medical services, education, healthcare, as well as veterans. I think this is probably the 7th year. It might be the 8th year, but I think it's at least the 7th year that we have had this program, and always very successful. So, and just to demonstrate that, we'll look at a little history of it. The latest program we did, we dedicated 7.7 million to it, and with that, we ended up with 48 loans for a little over 5 million, 700, almost 6 million before the program closed, and an average loan was 120,570, and that's a good bit larger than our average loan in SC Housing, which is a little over 105,000. So the program did very well there. Even during the housing slump, it gave a lot of people an incentive to buy houses. So we moved through a lot of that money very rapidly. Since the inception of the program, 130 million has been allocated. Again, it varies depending on the source of funding, the amounts of funds that we're able to do, but this has accounted for 1,073 loans for $118 million, and the average loan in that time all averaged out a little over 110,000 per home. And this is how it breaks down. When we talk about these different fields, as you can see, the program, when we first launched it, was strictly for teachers. We did it in conjunction with the Education Association, and it was strictly with teachers. So teachers kind of got a little ahead of the game on that. And right now, it's almost 50% of Palmetto Heroes loans are going to teachers. But we've gotten great response from the law enforcement community, and so now we've got 23% police participants. We're gaining ground in the firefighter community. Correctional officers have been able to use this, and One of the places we hope to see a lot of ground this year is in the healthcare community. Nurses uh, involved in this since early in the program, but have not been big in participation so far. So we're hoping that you're going to go out and find a lot of people in the nursing field who are ready to buy homes too. And we also include veterans, and we'll talk a little bit more about that right now. We don't do a lot of these loans for veterans because very often VA provides better terms for them, but we have done some. And this year, with the extra incentive of the MCC, there may be a reason for veterans to take part this year also. And we'll get to that in just a little while. But this is the program for 2014. We're fixing the interest rate at 4%. We're offering $7,000 in down payment assistance, and we're offering the South Carolina mortgage credit certificate. Now, for those of you that don't know about the mortgage credit certificate, this is a big deal, and it can help sell homes not only with Palmetto Heroes, but in general. And there's a little bit of a quirk to it in Palmetto Heroes that is different from normal. The mortgage credit certificate is available in South Carolina. SC Housing started this last year. It's not unique. Other states around us have been doing this for a while, and we started it last year. This allows someone who buys this certificate at the time that they purchase the home to convert 30% of mortgage interest into a dollar-for-dollar tax credit. That's a tax credit versus a deduction, which is much better. They can actually get a dollar-for-dollar tax credit. 70% of that mortgage interest will remain a deduction, but up to $2,000 per year, as long as that person is in the home, can be used as a tax credit. There's a couple of ways to take it. You can take it when you file your federal tax at the end of the year and get that credit back on your taxes, or you can use this to reduce your withholding on your W-2s and actually have more take-home pay in every paycheck. So that can help to make the house payments all along. Another good thing for our realtor community is that if the person agrees to buy this mortgage credit certificate, that computed income that will be derived from the use of the credit certificate can be used as income for qualifying. So if you've got someone who's right on the edge of qualifying, this may be the thing that pushes them over. It's a one-time fee of $500 to purchase the credit. It's done at loan closing. Banks can charge $200 as a fee for processing this. Some will, some won't. But it is the money that is spent on this by the home buyers recouped almost immediately and is available as long as they are in that home. Now, the peculiar thing about this is that the federal government won't let us do this with bond-funded loans, which typically our loans are funded through bond sales. And so if you're going to use an SC Housing loan, you would not be able to use a mortgage credit certificate. In the typical scenario, it would have to be another loan, a conventional loan, a VA loan, etc. That person would be able to buy the certificate. Well, this year, Palmetto Heroes is not being funded from our bond purchasing. So we are able to offer this along with Palmetto Heroes. And it is a dollar-for-dollar reduction to the amount of federal taxes owed each year. $2,000 a year can really help someone, incentivize someone to make that home purchase, because that's 30% of their mortgage interest that instead of just saying goodbye to it, especially in those early years of amortization, that's something that they can get back. So it is a wonderful program. The home buyer benefits in a number of ways from this, through lower federal taxes or by reducing the W-4 holdings. The homeowners can see an immediate increase in take-home pay. And again, I talk a lot about this. I love this program. The MCC is a great incentive and it saves people money, but I always have to end my remarks that we don't give tax advice, so please consult a tax advisor about the income advantages of the MCC. There are details about this, and again, we could spend a couple of hours talking about MCC, but we will be posting details along with this webinar later on. And of course, you can always come to schousing.com and find the details there, or call our office. Again, there are some details, but most people that fit into our home buyers, just to simplify it, most of the people that fit into our home buyers guidelines for income and home price can qualify for the MCC. David Slade, the Post and Courier, wrote an incredibly insightful article on it that I'm going to post on our Facebook page later on today or early tomorrow, and I would encourage you to read that. A good reporter, and usually very skeptical about programs like this. He's great about picking out the details of how they don't work. He went through this program with a fine-tooth comb and did just that, found the instances where it might not work to someone's advantage, but said that those would be the far outlier cases of this, that most people would be able to benefit from this very easily if they fit into those guidelines. So keep the mortgage credit certificate in mind in all cases, but especially with Palmetto Heroes this year, because you will be getting 4% fixed interest rate for the life of the loan, $7,000 down payment assistance, and the possibility of recouping up to $2,000 a year in mortgage interest. And really for the Palmetto Heroes, we have never had better incentives than we do right now. Let's take a look at who is eligible. For those of you who have worked with us on Palmetto Heroes in the past, a lot of this is going to be familiar to you. Law enforcement officers, full-time as state or local, must be certified by the Law Enforcement Training Council upon the date of application. So your police officers, your sheriffs, your deputies, your campus police. Again, don't immediately underwrite anyone out of this just because they don't appear in the details here. Give us a call. Let's find out if if they should meet the description and we just haven't written them into the details. Firefighters, EMTs, and paramedics. Full-time as a firefighter, emergency medical technician, a paramedic, and let's remember, this question always comes up, so we've written it in here. Volunteer firefighters do count with state or local agencies. So I know we've got a lot of rural areas and even some metropolitan areas where volunteer fire stations are the norm. Volunteer firefighters do count in this program. As long as they're contracted by a state or local agency to provide emergency medical services. And I also have gotten the question before, what about dispatchers? I believe we did use EMT dispatchers last year in the program. So please, if you have those cases, let's take a look at those also. Teachers, this was where the program originated. They must be employed as a full-time classroom teacher or have a contract to begin teaching. You don't have to be, we've got a lot of teachers graduating coming up in this in the spring as graduations begin to occur. As long as the teacher has a contract and scheduled to receive their first paycheck within 60 days of the loan closing, we can qualify them. So teachers that are in the classroom, teachers that are going into the classroom. Again, one of the places where I hope to see a lot more activity this year, because we have expanded it a bit, is nurses. It can be a registered nurse, licensed practical nurse, or an advanced practice registered nurse. So look into to all those fields, as long as they're licensed with the South Carolina Board of Nursing. That's where we're looking. And employed full-time in a hospital, doctor's office, school, or other medical facility. So as long as they are active in the nursing field, we're going to take a look at those. This year we've broadened it a little bit and added certified nurses aides, CNAs, which weren't in the category last year. As long as they have a nurse aide certification and on the SC Nurse Aide Registry. And I've got a link in here in this PowerPoint to the registry, but just know that if you're looking to qualify someone, and they're trying to qualify as a certified nurse aide, you can verify that at the SC Nurse Aide Registry. And again, veterans are included, active duty in U.S. Armed Forces, and received a discharge other than dishonorable in the past 25 years. So we're going back a bit on this. And as long as they don't have ownership interest in a principal residence at the time of the loan closing. So veterans are in this. And again, in many cases, your veterans will find a better deal with VA, but let's take a look at that this time, because not only have we got the 4% interest rate, we've got the $7,000, which is a fairly rich down payment assistance this time. And we've got the added benefit of the mortgage credit certificate, which, depending on the amount of the loan and the interest being paid, could be substantial. So that's one thing that could make a fairly large difference. Down payment assistance. Most of you who've worked with SC Housing know that we do have two categories of down payment assistance. One is repayable, one is forgivable. Both of those categories are still eligible in the Palmetto Heroes program this year, but from past experience with this, almost all of these are going to be in the category 1, that is the repayable down payment assistance. So in most of the literature that you'll see, and when you talk to us, you'll see that $7,000 will be repayable, but it's at an interest rate of 4% and begins on the 3rd anniversary of the loan. Do we have a question?
Yes. Elaine is asking, do the buyers have to be buying their first home?
Well, excellent question. Yes, and let's go to that now. First home, we call it first home buyers, but that's a little bit deceptive. It's not necessarily a first-time home buyer. First-time home buyer can mean someone who has never owned a home, or it can mean someone who has not owned a home in 3 years. So in any county, if you've not owned a home in the last 3 years, we'll consider you a first-time home buyer. And now in most counties, and I don't want to go through the list, but I'll tell you that in most counties in South Carolina, and just you can find this on our website, but for brevity, let's just think of the larger counties are our non-targeted counties. But in most counties in South Carolina, we consider them to be targeted counties, and in that case, a first-time home buyer is qualified if they simply don't have title to a property at the time of closing, which in an extreme case could mean that they could sell one property that morning and close on their new property that afternoon. And that is in all counties except Aiken, Anderson, Charleston, Greenville, Greenwood, Lancaster, Lexington, Oconee, Pickens, Richland, Spartanburg, and York. So in a lot of counties around the state, we can qualify you as a first-time home buyer if it's your first home, or in all cases, if it's your first home in 3 years, and in most cases, simply if you do not have title of property at the time you buy a new home. Well, let's get another question.
Yes, we have Edie who's asking, what about reserve police officers? So do they qualify?
Reserve police officers, let's see, as long as they are defined by the South Carolina Law Enforcement Training Act, certified by the Law Enforcement Council, and employed full-time as a state or local law enforcement. And truthfully, I don't know enough about the Reserve Act to tell you. I'm guessing they are not going to be employed full-time, but we will get some. I'll get some additional information on that, on the Reserve Officers Act, and find out exactly. My first impression is no, but don't take that as gospel, because the qualifications do say employed full-time as a state or local law enforcement officer. So let me get some more information on that, and we'll post it here and on our website and Facebook page. Good questions. Thank you for those. Keep those coming. Those are exactly the kind of things we need to know what questions you have about. We do have materials available for you, and these are on the SC Housing website. Just look at some of these. These are our wrap cards. They essentially print on a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, 3 to a page, and you can, excuse me, go in and put your information into these. You'll see that little empty box down there at the bottom. That's where your information can go. You can put those in and print them out as you need them. We also have posters and flyers, and if you'll notice the little, there's a blank box up there on each of these. Those are personalizable also. You can use the standard ones, which are available on our website, or you can use those that are able to be personalized. And let's not forget our regular home buyer program. If you've got someone who hopes to qualify as a hero, or not. Let's just say you've just got someone who is a home buyer. Our regular home buyer program is still available, always available. We have 4.5% fixed interest rates right now and $5,000 on any qualifying home. And we're still running our Kickstarter program that we started a little over a year ago to get rid of some of this surplus inventory that a lot of the builders had. And that is on a newly constructed home. And let's just call that a home that is finished, but no one has lived in it yet. No one has purchased that home. 4.5% and $8,000. So this is an even richer program. And now let me just say this is not going to overlap though with the Heroes program. The $8,000 is for the standard program, newly constructed homes. Heroes has $7,000, but that's the max of down payment assistance. We did get that question a little bit earlier. Is kind of newly constructed home count with a $8,000 down payment assistance? And no, it can't. Not in the Heroes program. Outside it can, but again, the Heroes program is a little bit richer with the $7,000, a little bit lower with the 4% fixed rate, and of course the MCC really makes a difference. And let's just for example's sake, I know we've got people from all over the state, but let's just look at the qualifications of income and home price for a couple of places. I mean, I'm in Richland County, so for a 1 or 2 person household in Richland, maximum qualifying income there is going to be $58,000. If they have a little baby or somebody else in the household and it's a 3 person household, it goes to $66,930 maximum household. I'm sorry, $66,700 maximum household income. And looking over the home price limits for the entire program, they're a little bit different. You know, our home prices vary county to county for our normal programs. This program, our home price limit in all counties is $225,000. So that's the max. Of course, that's not where most of these go. Our average home price is around 130 to 160, and you saw in the earlier slides the home price, the sale prices in these homes were averaging overall about 110,000 to 120,000. So right in that first-time home buyer range. And don't forget, you know, when I'm traveling around the state, I talk to people who oftentimes are older, not just, you know, young first-time home buyers, but older people who are downsizing. Don't you know, work this through in your mind. Think about the first-time home buyer qualification, especially when I'm down at the beach and places like that. People say, no, well, I've owned a home for 40 years. You know, I don't qualify. And I said, well, you told me you just moved to South Carolina and you were renting. That's right. Well, you've never owned a home in South Carolina then. This is a South Carolina program. So if you haven't owned a home in South Carolina, but you've owned a home elsewhere, you're a first-time home buyer. Also, let's say you've owned a home in one of our non-targeted counties, one of our more metropolitan counties, and now you're looking to move away from the you know, the hullabaloo of the city, and you're moving into one of our targeted counties, a little bit more rural area. Well, in that case, you may qualify as a first-time home buyer again. So work this through, think about it, always ask those questions if you think someone might qualify. We've got a question now.
We do. Andre Washington asked, does the buyer have to remain in the property for 5 years in order for the down payment assistance to be forgiven?
If they qualify for forgivable down payment assistance, it does forgive at the rate of 20% per year. And so it would be forgiven. It would amortize 20% per year, and after 5 years, it would be completely forgiven. Again, what we've seen in past programs is that most of the people who are in the Heroes program, even though they don't have a large income, they do have a fairly good living income. So most of them are going to qualify in the category 1, which is repayable. But if you do find someone who's got that forgivable, it will forgive at 20% per year, and after 5 years is completely gone. While we were talking about the counties, I did slip in a slide here about what those targeted counties are, because those are the places where we're just giving a little bit more incentive to buy a home. So the qualifications are a little bit less severe. Those 34 targeted counties are the counties where, as long as you don't have title to property when you close on your new home, we consider you a first-time home buyer. And so there's a little bit more information about that. And again, if someone has owned a home in another state but hasn't owned a home in South Carolina, again, we see this a lot with retirees. They're moving here. They're on a retiree's income, could be substantially reduced from what they were making during their earning years, and they may be looking for a smaller home. They may fit into this program. One of the people we're going to profile for this program, I just talked to an officer with the Horry County Police Department in Myrtle Beach. And this is a fellow who last year, when they had a huge apartment fire, a condominium fire in Horry County, was one of the officers that went door to door evacuating people from the building. I mean, and he was a true hero. He saved lives doing this. And while he was out there saving lives, he had an application in to Palmetto Heroes and was closing on a home. So he was a true hero. But the story that he told me was he wanted to have a place that was near where his patrol was. And of course, if you looked at prices in downtown Myrtle Beach and Horry County and around there, they can get pretty high. They can go beyond most people's means, especially the means of a first-time home buyer, pretty quickly. But with the Palmetto Heroes program, he was able to find something that was in his price range, and the down payment made all the difference in the world. Having that down payment, he was able to make the payments, just couldn't save up the down payment. So that down payment in Palmetto Heroes made the difference. It got him a home 5 minutes away from where he would patrol. So this is another law enforcement presence in the neighborhood. It helps teachers to live near where they're working, so they become a part of the society there, a part of the community. It keeps these are the people that we depend on every day. I mean, let's face it, we don't pay them as much as we probably should, but these are the people that really keep the infrastructure of our society running. When you talk about teachers, nurses, law enforcement, firefighters, when you need them, you want them to be there. And really, that was the genesis of this program, is that we wanted to, with funding that we had available at SC Housing, give an incentive to these folks that it's not a pay raise, but it's a little bit something extra, and it helps build up the communities of our state by having them be able to buy a home, reduce their commute, put down some roots in the community, and really become a good part of the community. So great program. I hope you'll use it. I was happy to meet that officer there. We're going to profile him on our website. He's going to be one of the faces of this program, and we're also going to put him up on our Facebook page pretty soon. So I want you all to please post this on your websites, on your Facebook pages. Spread the word. And let me come back to that because I think we have a question.
We do. Karen Rapchick said that her lender thought this program was out of money and that it was only for law enforcement. She says, who do I need to have in contact to get info on this lending program?
Okay. Well, the program comes and goes. We usually launch it in April. And we did launch this at our statewide affordable housing forum a week ago. So we launched this at the end of April, and believe me, you're getting the news early because this is a brand new launch. But it doesn't necessarily, well, it does. It runs out of money. There's a finite amount of funding available for this program. So this time, I don't have the exact dollar figure with me right now, and we may be able to allocate more depending on how well it goes. But we launch it in April. There's a finite amount of funds, and when it's out until the next April. So this is a limited time program, but not at all limited to law enforcement. Have that lender call us. If you want the name, you can call Claude Spurlock at South Carolina at SC Housing. And also, if we're able to post these documents, I have a list of the lenders who are fully accredited to work with this program from the aspect not only of SC Housing and the Heroes program, but also the MCC. And because the mortgage credit certificate is such an integral part of this program, we needed lenders that were signed up for both SC Housing and the mortgage credit certificate. So we have a list of those participating lenders that we can post a little bit later on. But if your lender has any questions about it, call us and ask. You can get me, Clayton Ingram, or Claude Spurlock. We'll get them the information they need. If they're not signed up and they need to be signed up, we can help them there because we're doing training all the time for lenders and for realtors. We've got a couple more questions.
Yes. Does spouse income add to the hero income?
It's household income. It's full household income. So if they're two or three in the household, the income of the entire household is what goes into the qualifying income.
Okay. And we have one last question from Pamela Berkeley, who's asking if the teacher is nationally certified instead of by the state. Does that count?
That's interesting. I'm not. We always get these outliers, so that's a good question. National certification, if it doesn't, it should entail state certification. But I'll check and make sure of that. Thank you for bringing that up. These are the questions that we love to get because we don't cover everything when we're writing this up. So, in the teachers portion of it, we have it designated as state certified and in the classroom. Let me check on that. South Carolina teacher certification is what we have in, but we can check on whether or not we can qualify with national also. And Sharon, will you be able to post some of these answers later on?
We absolutely will,
okay.
And they will also go out as links in our weekly update that goes out on Tuesdays. So please stay tuned to your email, and we'll have links to the reporting and links to all the supplemental materials. So yes, we will get those out to you.
Great. And I will check on those and get those back to you. While we're talking about training, let's talk a little bit about training opportunities. So since that's come up, of course, if you're not already on our list of certified real estate professionals, we would love to have you on there. This qualifies you for making SC housing loans of all kinds. And I can tell you, Palmetto Heroes is sort of an annual event now. But our program is changing and evolving all the time, and we're always looking for ways to make it more efficient and more effective. So I would advise you to find a training opportunity in your area. If there's not one, please call us for training opportunity areas in your area. And not only are you become fully versed with SC housing programs, we'll put you on our website and in our materials that we distribute. We have another question.
We do. Do teachers need to be currently employed?
Teachers need to be either in the classroom or have a contract. If they're going to receive their first check in 60 days, they'll most likely qualify. But they do need to be classroom teachers. And back to those training opportunities, I've listed just a few of them here that we know about right now. We're always scheduling them, but if you're in Charleston, we have that coming up at Council Committee Room in Charleston well, tomorrow. So if you're in Charleston, clear your calendar and get ready for that from 1 till 2:30. As you can see, these are not long classes. We cover a lot of material in a very short period of time. Coming to Myrtle Beach on the 5th at the Coastal Carolina Association of Realtors. Thanks to all the folks down in Myrtle Beach for making that available. In Rock Hill on the 13th at the Piedmont Regional Association of Realtors. And then we're working right now to schedule one in Hilton Head. But if you have an office that needs us to come out, please give Claude Spurlock or myself a call. We would love to come and train anyone who's interested in this program or any South Carolina housing programs. It's a great way to sell houses. We were talking about the Heroes runs out of money, but SC Housing does not run out of money anymore. Our programs are available year-round. They do change, interest rates shift. We look at them daily now, but they are fairly stable. So when we talk about the interest rates being at 4.5, whether they've been at 4.5 for us now and 7,000 down payment assistance for quite some time, probably will for a while, or 5,000 and 8,000, and of course 7,000 for Heroes.
We have a question. Are they able to look up the income limits?
Yes.
SC Housing website.
Yes, those are on our SC Housing website under Heroes, and we're also going to make them available for posting. We've got a file ready to post with this right after we finish this. But income guidelines will be available on our website. If they're not all up there now, they will be shortly after this webinar concludes. Well, any other questions?
No, we do have
let's have time for a little bit more questions.
Is there any distance learning for the training class?
Not so far. So far, the nature of the training is all in person right now. Just because the amount of questions that are asked and the materials that we provide, we are looking at distance learning. We are looking at doing webinars of our own in the near future. In fact, we've just gotten a lot of new equipment that will allow us to do those in a great way. But so far, we don't have any distance learning. They are all either scheduled or specifically scheduled. And believe me, Claude is on the road all the time, and he does classes for individual offices, for associations, and then just as you can see on the screen there, the regular road shows. So if you have a group of people together, call them and schedule something. You might not have to wait for one of them, and hopefully that won't be too long before we can find a way to actually do distance learning that will work to everyone's benefit.
Do you have to register for training or just show up?
It would be better to register because that way we know we have enough materials. I would encourage registration, but if, like for the one in Charleston, it's probably too late to register, so I would say just show up and I'll make sure Claude has plenty of extra material. But it is usually better to register, and I believe you can register on our website. And if you're not on our website now, if you're not part of our extranet, register for that. Send us a note, let us know that you need to get on. Claude Spurlock again is the person, and the training is free. You can register on our website, get an extranet number. In fact, that's what the training does. It gets you into the secret parts of the website where you can receive all kinds of extra information, signals and handshakes and things like that. Will help you out in your business. Just kidding, but it will get you a lot of information about where training classes are coming up. But again, Claude Spurlock is the head of our mortgage lending area and available to you anytime. But the class is going to cover everything this time. 2014 Heroes, the mortgage tax credit, the new construction, all of our programs that are available with down payment assistance. You'll learn about the home price limits, And again, a big question and answer session. Here's how you can enroll, though. I did want to get that to you. So if you do if you do have one of these classes that you want to enroll on, go to our website. It's real easy, schousing.com. Go to lending partners, and we were talking earlier, the website, everything's on the website, but it's kind of hard to find. So look at this, SC Housing, go to lending partners, and then look at the training schedule, and that'll give you the opportunity to RSVP. And I found Claude's number. There's Claude's number. And I've got his cell number too. So write down that cell number, 730-5030. That's how you can find him and bend his ear a little bit.
We have Karen Rapchick is asking, she said that she took the training a few years ago and then switched brokerages. Now all the information that was on the website is outdated. Can she just attend the training again, or can she update her info?
You may be able to just update your information since you've attended the training. The training's individual, so you may just want to get with Claude and update that information. Again, I would say that I would do it, but Claude's area handles all that because they like to keep track of it. So there's that phone number. I would give him a call, or get somebody at the office, and let's update that information. Wouldn't hurt to go through the training again because so many new things are coming up now. Always changing. So if you haven't been through the training in a couple of years, I would encourage you to go again. Find out what all is new and what all may be coming down the road. And always, for more information, that's us, schousing.com. I think if you're outside of our office, you don't even need the www, but www.schousing.com is where you can find us. Again, I'm going to leave that up while we finish up a little bit with the website and with how you can get in touch with Claude Spurlock. But I would ask you to follow us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. We've even got a great Flickr site where we've got lots of pictures from around the state of different places that we go, of the forum. Look at our website, keep that on your favorites, but especially for this Palmetto Heroes program. If you would spread the word. I know every good realtor out there has a Facebook page. Most have Twitter accounts. If you don't have websites, I've seen some fantastic realtor websites lately, blogs, YouTube. I've seen some of your YouTube productions that are really first rate. Help us spread the word on this, because this is an incredible chance to get some people into houses who might not otherwise be able to afford them. We've shaped this program the best we can to get people in these communities, law enforcement, nurses, teachers, firefighters, into homes in their community where they can start building equity. But that's the altruistic part of it. The other part of it is this is going to give you some extra home sales over the summer. You use this money, get yourself some extra home sales, and do that, please, by sharing our post. If you don't already have us as a like on Facebook, go on there and follow us, because we're going to be really hammering this program and posting a lot of information. And if your people see it, if your clients see it, they'll spread the word. The officer I was referring to that I talked to in Myrtle Beach, he didn't know about the program. He had a friend of his whose mother was a realtor who knew about it and said, "Hey, I hear you talking about buying a house. I think you'll qualify for this Palmetto Heroes program." And that worked into a house sale, into a home sale. So put this information out there, and I guarantee somebody that follows you or reads your blog or sees your post knows someone who's a teacher or a nurse or a firefighter or a police officer. And so use that social network to get the word out. If nothing else, it makes you look great that you're trying to help the community out there who are the real heroes. And like I say, some of them truly are heroes and have saved lives. So let's get them in the homes.
We have Brenda Huber who's asking, do the loans have MIP?
MIP. Mortgage insurance? Yes. I'm guessing that's related to mortgage insurance, and that's a good question, and they do. Let me see if I can actually give you a specific answer to that. I know it's going to be in the postings that we do, because we're going to have the program guide up with all the information. But as far as mortgage insurance, must be insured by the United Guarantee Corporation and meet the following coverage requirements is what we're going to post. Loan to value ratio, 80 to 85% would be 6% coverage. 85.01 to 90 would need 12%, and 90.01 to 95% would need 25%. So I hope that covers that. If not, I'm betting it's going to be covered in the program guide that we'll be posting. We've tried to cover a lot of the details on that in the program guide, and we're going to make that available to you. So I hope that was what we're looking for. They'll need it to different degrees, and FHA versus conventional, I think, has different requirements. Those are the loan to value ratios that I know about off the top of my head there. Well, unless there's any more questions that come in, do we have something?
We don't, but we have someone with their hand raised.
Mm-hmm.
If you have your hand raised, go ahead and type your question in the question box. You can also type it in the chat box.
And while we're waiting to see if we have any more questions, I just want to thank you all for spending the time with me. I've tried to keep this brief because I know that you're all very busy. And again, we've covered the highlights of it, and there are more details, and those details will be posted. Encourage you to read the program guide. We'll also post the income limits and price limits guide. We'll post a list of the approved lenders for the program, and some basic information. And again, I would encourage you to go to our website and use those printed materials that are available to you. Again, you can personalize those. There's a box on there where they're in PDF format, and you can put your own information in there and use those, and to let us know what else we can do to help you.
What is your Facebook page?
Facebook page is
probably, I'm assuming, facebook.com/SC Housing.
Mm-hmm. Or it may be SC State Housing. I should have that with me. I don't, but if it's either SC Housing or SC State Housing. We'll post a link to that as well. But you can find us out there as SC Housing or SC State Housing.
And members of SCR, you will not need to log into the SCR website to get the materials. We will send those in links by email. And when's your next upcoming class?
Next class, let's see if we can go back to those real quick. There's the schedule again. Charleston, May 2nd, Myrtle Beach, May 5th, Rock Hill on the 13th, and I believe Claude actually has a monthly class on a regular schedule in Columbia. So we'll get you some information on that too. Since we're headquartered in Columbia, I believe he has regularly scheduled training in our office. So
yeah, that's what the next question was that Rebecca said she saw that a training just happened last week, so she was wondering when another Columbia class would happen.
Yep, at least yes. And on Facebook we are SC State Housing. So thanks for that qualification. I think
do we have any other questions? If you have a question, please type it in the question box. We'll wait just another minute or two. Is the Heroes program limited to rural areas?
No, that's a great question. Thank you for that. It is not. Like all of our programs, this is statewide. I get that question a lot from people who have worked with programs before with local housing authorities that may be limited to certain neighborhoods in an area, or programs that may be limited to rural areas only, or conversely urban areas. Our program is statewide. If you can find a home that meets those guidelines, our home price guidelines and income guidelines anywhere in the state, that home is going to qualify. Again, take advantage of those materials, and remember our regular home buying program, and call Claude Spurlock. And Claude would normally be doing this. He's great with the details. I'm pretty good with it, but there's always a detail that I don't have. So I would encourage you to call Claude, call him, get on our website, send an email. And once you get that SC State Housing on Facebook, we monitor that and we answer questions there also. So there's a lot of ways to reach us.
Brenda is asking a question. I'm not sure exactly what she means, but she says, so house must also qualify?
Well, the house price must qualify, and then of course there are underwriting guidelines as far as HVAC, termite, that type thing. Those inspections would still have to be met. Trying to think if there's anything else that I can think of that might be in there. The eligible property, I mean, since we do have a few more minutes, let's just say the eligible properties would be single family, owner occupied, primary residence located in South Carolina. I mean, that's, those are the homes. We don't do second homes. We don't do refis either. That question often comes up. And the property types: stick-built, townhomes, FHA approved condominiums. We do condominiums. That a lot of people don't know that, so thank you for that question. Yeah, that triggered that. And we do also off-frame modular homes. We don't do mobile homes, so to speak, but we do off-frame modular homes, and that's essentially anything that's never been on wheels. If it doesn't have an axle and a tongue, it's an off-frame modular. Typically, they're shipped in on flatbeds. You'd need prior approval for those just to make sure we're talking about the same thing. But if it's stick-built or a townhome or an FHA-approved condominium or an off-frame modular home, then that's going to qualify. And of course, there are underwriting standards that are, anyone who's dealt with this knows, it's too extensive to get into during a webinar. They'll all be in there in the program guideline. And again, just toward that question, home inspections by a licensed home inspector will be mandatory for all previously occupied properties. Let's see, what else might there be? I said HVAC, but let me backtrack on that. An HVAC letter is not required in this case. So again, let me clarify that. Very good. I thank you all for that. I know there's probably more questions. So after the webinar, shoot them to our Facebook page, bring them in here, and Sharon will deliver them to us, or call our office directly or email us. Again, it is a great program. I think it's going to sell a lot of homes. I hope it all goes quickly, so jump on it. If it goes quickly enough, we may refund it and extend it a little bit. So get on that, and thank you for your time and your attention, and for helping us spread the word through social media also, if you would be so kind as to do that.
Thank you so much, Clayton. We really appreciate y'all coming here today and telling us all about this program. It's very worthwhile. I hope all of our realtor members take advantage of it and get the word out to those who deserve it most, our viewers.
Great. Thank you.